It goes live.
And we are live. Welcome back to Sisterly Sparks. I am Orange Spark.
I'm gonna do what she do. Purple spark.
And I'm Pink Spark.
And and today starts our series for the self-love journey. We're going to cover a variety of things, different aspects that can kind of play into the journey, what that looks like, what it means to be on that journey, and just some tools to deal with a few things you may face while you walk out that journey. So before we dive into that, we are going to do a mental health check-in, and after we all check in for how we're doing mentally, we will also discuss the importance of your mental health while being on this journey as well. So I'll go ahead and go first. I am okay. Yep.
We need a little bit more.
um
You're here. That's what matters. You're here.
I'm just making it. I'm
How
day
was
by
your week?
um I don't remember much of anything. Um I've been working and work's been fine. Um yeah. So I mean it was probably okay.
Did you do anything specifically for you this week?
I don't believe so.
Okay. It's a work in
uh,
progress. It's okay.
yeah. Yeah. I did get my clay stuff in the mail today and been working with that to express my inner thoughts and feelings. So
There you go.
Right.
that's
That's an
good.
accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah.
But
Well,
overall, you're okay.
or
Surface
trying to
level.
be in the attempt to be.
Surface level.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm just okay. I mean, I still don't think I'm as okay as I'd like to be okay, but I'm okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll accept it for now.
Thanks. How are y'all
um,
doing?
I'll go next. I can say this week has been on the better end of things as far as like mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, not too bad. Not too bad. Not can't complain. Just working through it.
Nice. Love that for you.
Yeah. Can't do nothing but work at it. One day at a time, one issue at a time, one
And I
problem
take
at
working at it as a good sign because you could be like putting it
right, because
off.
you could not do anything. You're right.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I take that as a good sign.
Yeah. Well, as for me, um, in this space right now, I'm actually great. Every week I okay, so listen. I could I could be going to something ridiculously insane, right? But every week I always have a weekly talk with my aunt, and we talk for like hours, and she's a little older than me, so she's much wiser and have like different aspects and stuff. And so I feel like when we have those talks, it helps me a lot. So where in like If I didn't have the talks, then my responses will be way different. But seeing that I have those talks on a weekly basis, it helped me place things in perspective. It helps me to sort things out and see things either differently or clearer, or how things should and could be. So um and too, it takes a load off me every week, because like we just let stuff go. We just get off whatever we need to and spill whatever we need to. So it puts a load off of me, at least, and her too. But yes, right now, however, long story short, I am good. Um um and I'm extra super good and ready for this discussion and this whole month worth of discussion, because it's very important. So
Most
yeah,
definitely.
I'm good. Great. So with mental health, we feel that um I feel like I could say we, but if difference, y'all could chime in. But I feel like mental health plays a major part in either how and if we have self-love, if we, have any of the things associated with self-love, like caring and just um knowledge, and like keeping inventory of ourselves boundary wise. Like I feel like it plays a major role. Our brain is like one of the most uh important parts of our body. The brain, it helps and regulates and does and help us to see, feel, hear, like everything. And I feel like that's one of the parts of us that I feel like us as a whole in general don't really take care of enough, or too much, or pay too much attention to. And when that gets out of whack, um, you start to begin to not see things so clear, or not see things as they should be. And I feel like we as a society also put off um when people speak up about like mental health issues or problems or concerns. I feel like we don't feel that we should have them. And when I say we, I mean as a society. I have to include myself in everything. I just feel like sometimes we don't feel like or think that it's important enough for us to mention. However, on the flip side, you hear all day long and you see everywhere where they say, speak up, say this, let somebody know about this, verbalize this. But then when you actually do that, it's a problem sometimes, or most of the time, or you're lied most of the time, or that's not how it goes, or you shouldn't feel like that, or you get any of all of that. So I feel like it's like a catch-22 when it comes to mental health. But um having this self-love that we should long for and that we should have, if we're not including mental health in that, then I don't feel like we fully know or have self-love. So that's just my take on it. uh, I don't know, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Any one of you guys?
Um, I definitely think mental health is important in that we have to put the importance of it on there, because I think it might have a connection with like self-worth. And I feel like if people found out who they really are and put emphasis on worth, I think mental health would be high on the list of things to execute. It's definitely, I think in most cultures it's not taught, but it's definitely something that can be learned. and can make a huge impact on your life. And then on the next generation, teaching them young how to love their self, not wait until they get older or go through situations to be like, okay, now it's time. I mean, kids can do it now at the age that they're at. It's not something that just adults have to do. And it's not something that can just be done one time and then that's it. It's truly a journey, a lifelong journey that gets better with each situation, with each moment, and with each effort. So that's my take on it.
I think it's very important. I think there was a saying that your life is moving in the direction of your strongest thoughts. So with mental health, if your thoughts are negative about yourself and the outlook of life, you're not loving yourself, you're not caring about yourself, you're not you're just in a negative space. So there's not room for you to love yourself in that. So until you get yourself to a clear space where you have rational thinking and you are, take the time to dive into yourself and like knowing who you are and those core values that we talked about in previous episodes and things like that, to where you can truly love yourself, and loving yourself, you'll be able to have a brighter look at not only your reflection, but also the life that you're living and the choices and the decisions that you make in life.
Do you guys think that self-love is important? And if so, how important, and how do you show that for yourself, or how do you deal with that, or how do you define it?
I think it's high on the list. Definitely probably like one of the top 5, maybe. And I think in certain ways that you can show self-love is just, I think it's through self-reflection, willing to do the work of looking inward. Sometimes it's just easier to look outward and look at other people and not really take a glimpse of yourself and see the good and the bad. It doesn't have to be all negative. It's seeing the things you like, seeing the things you don't like, and how you can personally improve those things and do those with action. It's very action based. Really tapping into your inner child, learning to heal, and then find those things that you like or you love or you used to like, and just explore it. Have the willingness to explore those options and find out, what do I like, and see how you change, and just working through those. So I say it's really important. I think if you don't have a form of self-love or know what that really looks like, I don't think you can truly wholeheartedly love another person.
Yeah, I agree with that. Cora, what's your take?
I think it's important. I think um, I don't know. I think it is important for us as human beings to love ourselves, and that it's not a selfish thing. Um, I just, I don't know. I think it's important. Um,
Do you find it difficult?
it's difficult for me. Yeah.
But I think in general, I think it's hard because we're not.
It is. I
It's
feel
not
like
something that they say in school. You gotta love. You know what I mean? It's always how you treat other people, but it's like, how do you treat yourself? We're not
right.
taught that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
In every day in the everyday this world, we don't really focus on ourselves. We focus on other people and other things. We just focus on the other. So and it's not until you like something major happens or whatever, or like when you really get to like a breaking point to when you actually discover and figure out like, wait a minute, what am I showing or what am I doing to myself, or how do I see myself? Or because like I feel like sometimes like how like even how you get treated, how you get talked to, how you get approached, how you get, you know what I mean, um how people relate different messages and stuff to you. I feel like all that plays a toll on you sometimes, and sometimes like it could really negatively affect really how a person views themselves, um and it could play a toll on, like it could really like play a trick on you. Like I feel like it's important because and you'll know when it's important to you because you'll actually want to like really like honestly deeply like do some internal work, just like Effany said, like you have to internally look, because I feel like if you don't know what that is, if you don't really have that, it can be so easy for somebody just to, they can say something, they can say any little thing, and you could either believe it, you could think that that's you, you could think that's how you are, you could think, you know what I mean, somebody can shape who you are and how you are, somebody can tell you, literally somebody can actually mold you how they want you to be if you don't have that if you don't have that notion to know for yourself, if you don't have that know about yourself, like who you are, what you are, like how you are, you know what I mean? How you are on the inside. Like if you don't know that for real, and that's why I feel like it's important, even if you don't have it, just a point of even thinking about somebody else can, it's like we could be puppets basically. Like what's the little string ventriloquist, no not ventriloquist maybe, but them little things that hangs with a string and you can control their movements and what they're saying, move their mouths and all that. Like literally that's how we can be. Like if we don't have any type of self identity, if we don't have any type of self anything, like, so I don't know, I feel like um it's really important. So I mean I know I played around a little bit with it and whatever, but like honestly, like we all should like try and tap in and um ask ourselves, who are we, how valuable do we feel we are, what is self-value, like we have to define what that self-value is. We, we have to we just have to know ourselves internally. That way we can't allow someone else to put what they feel like they know about us or know us to be or how we are, or if they could just treat us any type of way or give us any type of treatment because, well, they'll be okay or that's enough. How do you know? How do that person know that that's enough? Or you shouldn't let no one outside of you should know more about you or more to you than you know about yourself. That's just in a nutshell what I feel about it. And yes, it's super hard. It's super hard, especially when you're not in an actual good place yourself, internally or externally. And it's really hard for you to try and even tap in or even try and not listen or not think that what the other person is saying or the picture that they're painting is true. But I'm telling you, if you ask yourself like simple questions every day, if you build yourself up and say positive affirmations and positive things to yourself every day, if it, and two also with that, we do have to be the ones to um, pump up ourselves, to motivate ourselves, to encourage ourselves, because I also feels like that's something. Sometimes we ask too much of the next person for us. We should do all of that ourselves way more than anybody else does, and we shouldn't expect it. Like, even though I even though we do, we shouldn't, because we have to give it to ourselves. What if we're not giving it to ourselves, or we're not showing ourselves, or whatever? And so how can we expect somebody else to do for us what we're not doing? Or how can we expect somebody to see us how, and we don't even see us how we want somebody else to see us? For me, that's not logical. So I don't know. I just feel like it's really important that we try and get to a space where we can have that self love. We can have that unconditional, like, no matter how you are, no matter what happens to you, no matter what you go through, no matter what you do on a daily basis, no matter what your choices are, you need to be okay with you, because you also have to understand that we are all not perfect. I think sometimes because I think sometimes we ourselves hold ourselves to really high standards, and really want to be perfect out here. And when we fail at something, or not even fail, but when we don't succeed at something, or when we don't reach an expectation of what we have in our minds about ourselves, we're really hard on ourselves. And that can be totally opposite for how we feel about another person. Though we can go really soft on someone else. We could give all the leeway, all the um I don't even know the word right now. We could just give all the grace to other people, and to other things. But when it comes to ourselves, we're so hard. We're so evil to ourselves. We put ourselves down. We unmotivate ourselves. We don't think highly of ourselves. We feel like we're failures because we don't accomplish something that we said we wanted to do, or we're not somewhere where we said we wanted to be. And so now all it's the end of all ends. But it's not. Life is a journey. It's a journey, and we don't know what that is. That's why we're experiencing it. That's why everybody is different. That's why everyone have their own lane. Everybody's learning something. And we're a big melting pot, and I feel like everybody should help everybody in some type of capacity. um but yeah, we just I just feel like we just need to look to ourselves a little bit. We need to ask ourselves some questions, and I know Orange Spark can attest to it. I say it all the time, and yes, sometimes it's boring. It is sometimes it's lonely, not boring, but lonely to sit with yourself, to be by yourself just for a little bit. Sometimes it don't take forever. Sometimes it don't take long, but you need to sit with yourself, and you have to ask yourself them important, them deep questions. You have to ask yourself. You have to be really, really truthful with yourself. The I feel like the only time when you can fail at it, and when you can be disingenuous, is if you're not being truthful with yourself. If you can't be truthful with yourself, then you really can't be truthful with nobody else. Why would you lie to yourself and then go out here and try to portray that you're telling and showing the truth to other people? You should think more of yourself than you think of anybody else. And that's not to say, like, you're selfish, or you're like big headed, or whatever other kind of words you want to put on that. But you should have, like, the utmost respect for yourself. You should have the utmost love for yourself. You should have the willingness to want to achieve something, accomplish something, do something, figure something out, help the next person, have joy, so you can spread that, like, without no type of pressure or anything, to the next person. It should make you feel good to make somebody else feel good. But when you're actually not feeling good on the inside and you're trying to show that to other people, the people that actually get it and actually can see and sense and understand, they see something's wrong. They see it's not all what it's cracked out to be. But we have to be real with ourselves, for real. We have to really ask ourselves some questions and get to it. Like, and if you don't feel like you have that self-love or you have that self-care, or you have self-worth or any of that, let's ask questions with that. Why is it? What would it take for you to see your worth? What would it take for you to see your value? What would it take for you to love yourself unconditionally? Because I know it's somebody else out there that we can all say that we love, like with no question, no doubt, no nothing. But then when we ask that question about ourselves, if we don't have that same response, then there is an issue. There is an issue that we have to resolve and we have to figure out. I mean, I could keep going, but I'm gonna be quiet for a second and let one of y'all chime in. But I really do feel deeply about that. I really feel like because, and one more thing though, because I feel like for a long time, and I'm only saying this from experience, from a long time, I swear to you guys, I didn't even know what that was. I didn't even know what that looked like myself. I was in a situation to where it just knocked all my spirit out. It knocked all my whatever it is I felt about myself out. Like, because I just couldn't understand why things kept trickling, kept happening, kept if I'm this and I'm doing this and I'm acting like this and I'm showing this and I'm, you know what I mean? Why would I keep having to experience all the things that I'm experiencing? And it's only when we get in those instances and we get in and we're in those situations where we feel like we don't have all this, when in actuality we do, but because of the things that's on the outside that's triggering us and that's causing us a shield over what it is that we're actually seeing, we not seeing that. So sometimes that's why community is important. That's why having somebody to vent to, or somebody like with more wisdom than you, or a little bit more whatever than you, is really important for you to be around or for you to communicate with, because you need that. You need that motivation. You need that little jump. You need that little push. You need that word of encouragement. You need that. And it's okay for people to need that. Everybody needs that. It's at some point. Everybody needs it. And whoever say they don't is a lie. You're a straight lie. Everybody needs to be encouraged. Everybody. And it's okay to say that you need that. It's okay for us to have to need reassurance about some things. It's okay for us not to, in a moment when we're being put or being made to feel something less than what we know we are or who we are, for us to want to get that reassurance that, wait, this was just a minor setback. This was just a rock in the middle of the road for us, and we have to go around that, or we have to realize that. And sometimes you need somebody else to help you to realize that, and it's okay. And it's okay. And I'm one who will always be there for anybody at any time for anything. If I need to shut up and just listen, I'm there. If I need to say a word of encouragement, I got it. If I need to show something, if I need to take somebody's hand and do something, I got it with no problem, because we all should be there. And I feel like we all should be there. I'm a equally what's that equal opportunity whatever. Yeah, there you go. You could chime in too, but I'm all that, and I'm so dead serious, like, because it's too much of the negative stuff in the world. It's too much of not um of people not actually seeing their potential and getting up to their potential to be who actually they should be and need to be. It's too much. It's too much negative stuff going on. It's too much of people putting other people down. It's too much of people fighting and competing with each other. Why are we competing with each other? Can somebody answer that?
Social media.
What was social media even made for?
To compare ourselves to each other, to be obsessed with other people and what they're doing, when social media is a facade. You can put on this face, you can make it look cute, you can have your post and it be all correct and filtered. But the reality is that ain't really what you got going in your life at that moment. It's not, those aren't really truly happy smiles or faces. Like, it's not a lot of people put that raw content on there. And there's some that do. I think I felt like I see more people are starting to do that. They're starting to implement the good and the bad instead of just posting the good, or, trolling people or putting people down. Social media definitely has a huge role to play in that, unfortunately. But it doesn't mean it has to be that way.
Yeah.
It can be used for the good and to show people. Like, I just started following this lady. She's a Black woman. She's a farmer. And she's been showing like little insights of what's been going on with them doing their farms and things like that. And I guess
Mm-hmm.
recently, her husband cheated for 11 years, cheated on her with her best friend of 20 years. And in her content, she talks about, her waking up every day, doing her daily duties when it comes to farming. And then she splits in, so, like, for a little bit, she talks about what happened. She talks
Mm-hmm.
about how it affected her or what she's going through at that time, and just sharing from her experience what to do, what not to do, like based off of her knowledge. And it really intrigued me because not a lot of people do that. They pretend that they have a happy home when in reality there's this major thing going on, and she just showing like, yeah, I might be going through this and I'm still going. And a lot of people need that, knowing that you can push through what you're going through in that moment. A storm only lasts a minute. It hurts. You're gonna go through it. You're gonna be tested on all areas, but it don't last forever. The storm
Yeah.
has to pass. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
has to.
Yeah. You're right. That social media is it just paints such unrealistic pictures.
Yeah.
It just it
And people are really trying to follow that.
yeah. And they think that's what it is. That's why I try to be transparent with mostly like with a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
because once again, like, we try to paint perfect pictures. There's no one that have a perfect picture out here. And I never want to be one of the ones who try to portray myself like I don't go through things, like nothing bad happens to me, or I get everything right, or I do everything right, or you know what I mean? Like, we're the things we go through, and I'm gonna call them lessons. The lessons that we go through, they're meant to teach us things and other people. Sometimes we get it on the first try, sometimes we don't. But guess what? We're going to constantly get faced with similar things until we change how we deal with that lesson, how we see or view that lesson. We're going to continue to get the same results, the same problems, the same issues, the same instances, the same everything until we have a different outlook on what that looks like, on what that lesson is, on what we should get from that, on how we should treat that lesson, on what we should do. We're gonna get the same stuff. And I do feel like that's why I really don't like TV and some of these shows too, because all of them is really just giving like perfect scenarios, and that's not real. You making all this stuff for this television, and that's what mostly all everybody look at and watch all the time. Do something actually real, like that have to do with real life, for real, like so people can actually see, like show your mess ups, but show how you get through them, show how you work through that, show what you can do. You know what I mean? Like don't just make it seem like, oh, it's we're the perfect this and have the perfect. No, I straight from the jump, cap,
Okay.
straight cap. But yeah, it's just ridiculous. I don't like it too much, really. Like it is, I don't know. But once again though, still I say, with all that, and that makes up for most of society, most of the world, like all this fakeness, all these projections, all these images and these facades and stuff. So be why not be on the other side of that? Why not try to want what's right? Why not try to do what's right? Why not try to see right? Why not try to, you know what I mean? Try to be your best self, your most authentic self. Like you shouldn't have to rehearse to be somebody. You shouldn't have to rehearse to verbally say things or get things out, or to let people know something. Oh well, let me go over this and make sure I say this and this right, and this have a punctuation here and this. No, just be you. Just be you. I promise things will start gravitating. Things will start coming to you without you even asking or knowing, or feeling that it should, or even trying to get it to. Like you put out authenticity and you're gonna get it right back. You put out truth, you're gonna get it right back. You put out positivity, you're gonna get it right back. But guess what? If you put out negative, what you think you're gonna get back?
Negative.
Negative. So you only messing yourself up. You only causing friction for yourself when you're not real with yourself, when you're not thinking positively of yourself, like for real, but you're just putting that out there. When you're not really real on the inside, that's gonna show, and it's going to you're gonna attract what it is that you're thinking, which will also manifest. It's not just what you're verbalizing, it's what you're thinking too, because what you're thinking is eventually gonna come out. So you got to be authentic with that too. But I don't know, I'm just one of many few, I guess. What you thinking about, Orange Spark?
Think it's valid. I would agree.
Do you say you have things to work on, or are you where you should be or need to be or want to be, at least? Truthfully?
No, I'm none of the above. Well, okay, maybe not none of the above. I'm definitely not where I want to be. I'm not where I should be. Um, but yes, there are. I need to work on the whole shebang.
How important do you feel like that is to you?
That's hard to say because I feel like it's important in general. Like it's important, and I know it's important, but where I'm at right now, it's not important enough for me to want to do. So I don't know. Um, I know I should do it, and I wish that I wanted to do it. nothing in me yet has decided, like, okay, I've had enough. Like, let me do this dive and start this.
What do you think that it's going to take for you to want to get there? Or, I mean, if you even want to get there, like, what do you think that it would take for you to?
I genuinely don't know, but I guess it would be whatever rock bottom is. I don't know how bad it has to get
You're
before.
willing to go to rock bottom before you? It's just a question, though. I don't know. I'm just asking since you said whatever rock bottom is. So you're willing to like get to whatever that rock bottom looks like, and then you think that you will probably be in a space where you may want to start the searching and the discovering of yourself and loving, the self-love and all that for you.
Uh, I can only hope, honestly. There's no guarantee that even at that point that I will want to.
And
Um, I think my going into isolation plays a big role into that. But in the place that I am now, I can't even begin the journey. So I think once I get into a space where my environment is changed, then I think I have better chances of facing stuff and just kind of dealing with them head on.
can I ask you another question?
Yep.
Do you know what your purpose is?
Nope. I do not.
Do you think that that's important?
I think it is just because we all have one, but I just don't think mine has been revealed to me yet. So I don't, I mean, yes, I do, but I can't pinpoint anything.
What do you think, like, and just stop me if I get too intrusive or whatever, but what is it that, or do you know what it is that will make you um not want to know the reason why it is that you were put on this earth, and why, um or what is it that's allowing you to not want to um show and have self-love for yourself?
What is not having allowing me to have self love?
Like, what is it that's what's causing you to say what you're saying, to have those feelings that you just stated about not being there, or you just feel like you just probably have to get to rock bottom first in order for you to start to, what is it that's, because it has to be something that's affecting you in some type of way that's making you feel like.
I think it's a mental and physical aspect. So, mentally, I feel like I'm very much so in a dark place. I also feel like I'm in a dark place physically, but mentally, because my thoughts are not positive and my level of care is low,
Hmm.
I don't care to. Um, and then environment, I just um, hate it. And it's it makes me feel very never ending and I can't escape it. So that's also very depressing. So I just think all around it's an attitude of, and I don't even think it's an attitude. I just genuinely don't care. And um I just don't, it's giving there's no hope. Although I'm sure there is. It doesn't feel like it. So, and I don't even think I'm at rock bottom, to be honest with you. So, I mean, I do wonder, like, okay, how bad does it have to get for me to, like, it's like how many times you gotta hit your head for the light bulb to come on? Like, okay, maybe I should try something different. Like, but I don't have the drive, the will to want to do any of it because it's going to be a lot more um, hurt and yeah, mainly the hurt. And I just would rather not even deal with it because I feel like I'm dealing with enough already. And to dive into that, I I'm just not willing to do it.
Pimp, you got a response to any of that?
I was gonna ask a general question, like when it comes to like that self-love journey. Do you feel like, because it seems like it's like a connection to trauma, sense of healing. So I was gonna ask, like, I think even when I started mine, I was in that same mindset mentally because it's like you want to start that journey and you want to have the desire, but it's not there. So it's like, okay, how do you start your desire to want to work or consider it like work on your self-love? But also, like with that, it has a connection to trauma, to your childhood, to people, to family, situations, situationships. Like it goes so much deeper. You can't love yourself or work on yourself if you haven't done some sort of healing of past. And there's a lot of things too. Like what I dealt with was like past situations that are still very much so present. Not in the form like, okay, it's happening all over again, but in the form of like how people or how relationships are because of a situation, because it never really got dealt with, because people don't want to take responsibility. I was at a low point in 2020 because I wanted to heal, but I felt like I needed the other person to do it. And the other person didn't want to talk. The other person didn't want to take responsibility for their action or their part. They didn't want to about the situation in general. They just wanted to act like it never happened. And here I am, like, okay, I'm ready to be let go from the situation. And when I learned is like you can still heal without the other person. It's difficult. But sometimes you gotta go ahead and start that healing journey without that other person, without an apology, or even
Mhm.
probably expecting one. Um, I think, like, would you guys say, like, you think like, healing plays a part in that? And might have to do some groundwork before you can actually get into that self journey.
Um, yeah, but I also think a part of that self love journey is dealing with the trauma. Because I think it's you have to, if you're on the journey to figure out how to love yourself, you got to figure out why you don't and what caused it. And how do you untruth the lies? How do you unbelieve the false beliefs? Um, and then how do you, you mentioned triggers earlier. You have to identify them and figure out how you're not going to basically allow yourself to be triggered, and if you are, how you're going to cope and deal with it, because our triggers and our um basically the dealing and healing from the things that happen to us is our responsibility, and it's not right for us to expect other people to deal with it just because, oh well, I didn't create that, so I shouldn't have to deal with it. No, you didn't create it, but you do have to figure out how you're going to go through life with that, because hurt people, and you it's not fair to other people for you to go around just bleeding on everybody. um so you got to figure out how to cope and get past.
So I think that would be a good point. Like what does that look like? Um, Coping or dealing with it in a healthy way. Is it still something like to be explored, or is it something that has tried but didn't really give you the
Are you
result
saying
that you wanted, or just in general? When it comes to like healing and learning to deal with that stuff, um, I would say personally, I had to stop with the isolation, and I still kind of do, because sometimes I shut down and I just want to be by myself, but at the same time, I'm by myself and my thoughts take over, and not all of them are in the sound mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to learn, okay, I need to be more vulnerable. That was something that I hated and did not want to do, especially with people who've hurt you. Being
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable with them, because you feel like you're opening up yourself to be hurt more. In a sense, you could be,
You're
but
being vulnerable.
also the healing, I feel like, overshadows being hurt again. Because it's like, I'm allowing you to see like how it hurt me and what it looks like, but just know I'm taking the power back, and this will no longer be a thing. Whether you choose to accept it or not, whether you choose to acknowledge it or not, whether
Yeah.
you choose to even look at me in my face, or utter another word to me. At least I got it off my chest.
You starting that healing is for you, not for the other person. So like she's saying, no matter if they listen to you, no matter if they agree with you, no matter if they still be mad at you, if they still have hate towards you, if they still feel the same exact way, when you're on your healing journey and when you are trying to heal from all things trauma, and when you are confronting what that is, you're going to have to accept that you're doing what you need to do. Once again, we can't control what nobody else do. We can't control what they say, how they act, who they are. We can't control nothing about them. So you have to fix you. You have to confront it. You have to tell your truth. You have to tell what you feel, no matter what, if they choose to agree, no matter if they choose to do the same or any of that. But you have to be sure that your journey is your journey and you want to fix you within your journey, not trying to fix the other person. And
Mm-hmm.
that is hard though. It is hard. It's hard to be in the spot where you are at odds with people, and you feel like you're the only one who want to solve something. You're the only one who want to speak up about it. You're the only one who want to do something about it, and the other person is just acting like it's nothing. That's hard for you to get outside of yourself, and not think like, stoop to their level, not do what they're doing. But if you for real wholeheartedly want to fix and want to get out of the spaces that you're in, you're gonna do that. You're not gonna think about that other person and what that how that other person is gonna see something, how that other person is gonna feel. That's not for you to you can't answer any of that. You can't predict any of that. You just know how you feel, and you know how you want to feel, and how and what you want to get over, what you want to fix. So you would decide to do anything you can, anything you know how, because that's within your character. That's within you. That's within your reasoning to want to figure that out for yourself, not for the other person. Because when you do that, and when you don't do something because another person's not doing it, that's not showing you. That's not being you. Now you're stupid, and now you're being just like that person. So why even bother, or why even have something feel some type of way about it? If you're just gonna think like the other person, if you're just gonna be like the other person, if you're just gonna act like that other person, self identity is important.
Mm-hmm. And I think doing that can come with like a form of like a list or a mental. Like I had to kind of do that. Like I kind of made a list of like maybe family or friends or whoever that I were kind of at odds at or
Mm-hmm.
had strong trauma bonds to.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do it as in a sense of like at first I tried to go at it as okay, I'm gonna just talk to this person and get them off my list. But what I realized, I was trying to control the situation. I had to mentally know these people are on my list, and then when the situation presented itself, I would be ready to confront or to talk about it and not be on defense,
Yeah.
not be on edge. And that helped me a lot, especially like when I moved. It made me realize, okay, I have the opportunities, I have the time now, say what I have to say, get it off my chest, and know that I feel valid in how I feel,
Mm-hmm.
and leave the situation where it may be.
Yeah.
And you never know, that person might hit you up years later and say like, I might not have given you the response you wanted in that moment. I had time to think about it, because one thing it's going to do is going to make them think. You can't control their actions, but you going to make them think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you never know, like it might make them think, and then all of a sudden it's starting to show up in other areas in their lives with other people, and then it starts to promote or encourage change, responsibility. And you never know, those are the steps for them to get to where you want them to be, but it's going to take time. And so I was like, being aware or making a list of like the things, the people that you have traumas with, even your triggers, knowing
Mm-hmm.
what triggers you. I think that's important to have knowledge about when you do that self-reflection, is what triggers me, and then ask the question why.
Mm-hmm.
Start to jog your memory and back on situations and be like, why did this? Is it because it's a particular person, or is this in general? Apply it to your now and your future. Is this still showing up present in my life right now, or is it something that is kind of in the back but it's still lingering? Because I got tired of dealing with the same situations. Like
Man.
you really know when enough is enough. Like it takes enough situations, and again, like how you said earlier, some people it takes longer, it takes more situations. It don't
Mm-hmm.
mean anything's wrong with you,
Right.
it don't mean that you will never get it. But
Right.
also what I do know, when you finally have enough, they no
You had
longer have the
enough.
opportunity to mess with you. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was your last bit. So and once you get started, it's really a lifelong journey. And there may be stops, there may be pauses, but I feel like it's something that once you get tired of being tired, um, the actions and the willing and the desire will kick in. And it's different for each person, each situation, honestly. And realize that you might do it, but not in the sense that you think it might be. Like it might be, oh, with friendships or coworkers is where you see it showing up first, and like family is last. But it don't mean you're not doing that self journey.
Right.
I mean, honestly, they probably practice getting you ready for the true fight, which can, I think everybody can test it. It's family. Like those are the ones that are gonna take your
The
most
worst.
effort, your most intentions, your
Mm.
most everything.
Those the ones who's gonna try you the most. Those the ones who's gonna put you through the most difficult test ever.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones who's going to reject, who's going to put you down the most,
Mm-hmm.
who's going to all that. The ones that's closest to you are the
Mm-hmm.
ones that can hurt you the most. And it's done all the time.
And they know it.
They know it.
I take like solace or like a sense of joy in a sense like you might not get it now, but when you do, when you have that epiphany, I'll be ready for that apology. And it's not even just to be in a condescending way, because I had to
Right.
apologize for people for stuff I didn't get right then and there either.
For sure.
It's just the reality of it's gonna come around. It's gonna click
Yeah.
one of these days, and I have the hope that I'll be ready for you to
Yeah.
apology and to move forward. But also at the same, we ain't got all day. Time is short. Life
It
is
is.
long. But just know, like they're gonna have to get it eventually. I mean, a lot of people even sometimes do it on their deathbed. So you mean tell me you've been on, but you wait till your deathbed, or you sick, or you in need, to sit here and say that you've been knowing something but haven't had the desire to even tell me? I mean, a lot of them do it because they're embarrassed. They're ashamed.
Right.
They're shameful. And that's why I pay attention to people's actions. They might not always tell you that it actually came to click for them and that they're
Mm-hmm.
feeling sorry for about it and remorseful and
Mm-hmm.
embarrassed, but their actions would show, okay, this had an effect on you. You starting to actually get it. And that's the most you can really hope for, is that it starts to click in and they start to actually feel how they made you feel in a
Yeah.
sense.
You know, Ethany, you are right about like dang near everything you said, for real, everything. And I want to point out too, like what you said about you having to like write out, like, you know, what the issues were and all that, like, or apologies and all that type of things. I had to do the same thing. I had to, it gotten so bad with me to where, you know, when so much stuff is going on with you, and when so many negative things is being happen, like it's happening to you, and you just feel like your back is against the wall. You don't know what's going on. You don't know why you're being targeted. You feel like you're being targeted. You don't know why. Like, I did have to, that's when I did have to deeply look internally. I had to get to myself. It took me having to move from the place where I lived, the city where I lived. It took me to have to come to a secluded place where my thoughts and my everything was a little bit more clearer, not all the way, but just a little bit more clear and less tainted, to actually ask those deep rooted questions to figure out if I had an involvement, if it's something that I'm not doing or seeing something right, not doing something right. Am I the one that's actually causing these negative things that's occurring, like cause and effect type things? And I actually wrote me out a list too of all the people that I had issues with, or people who had issues with me. Just we was not on good terms. And I'm not going to say it was easy. I'm not going to say I wanted to at the time or what have you, but I had to literally apologize to several people for several things, for my parts in what would be considered like a disagreement, or a um whatever you want to just call the non whatever, like non relationship or whatever. I had to, because sometimes It's not about if we're right or wrong. Sometimes it is about how you approach things. Sometimes it's about how you respond to certain things. Sometimes it's what your approach is. And I'm not gonna, once again, transparency. I'm not gonna say I approach everything correctly. I'm not gonna say that I say things as I guess I should say them. Um, Even though I mean everything I say, because I really 98.999% of the time I really do try and think about what it is I say and who I'm saying it to and how it's going to be affected and taken from what I say. But so I mean what I say, but sometimes my delivery was not right. Sometimes the place and point when I was making that delivery or saying whatever it was or showing what it was, sometimes it wasn't right. And I got to eat that, whether I wanted to or not, whether I felt like I was right in that moment, no matter what the delivery was, how I said what I said, or how I showed what I wanted to show or said. You just have to eat it up. You just have to. And you have to, and that's being okay with yourself. That's being true to you. That's you fixing your wrongs so you can get yourself right, not for the other people. I couldn't say if those other people um accepted my apology. I can't say that they believed what I said out my mouth, or they listened, or they trusted what I was saying, or respected it, or I can't think of that, because if so, I would have never apologized, or I would have never tried to make it right for my wrong. I would have never done it if I'm sitting here keep thinking about what the next person's gonna say, or what they're gonna do, how they're gonna see it, what they're gonna say afterwards. Or even though y'all know I think and overthink a lot, and I'm always asking what if questions. So y'all could just imagine how hard it was for me to have to sit there and come to grips with myself and realize, like, listen, it is what it is. Do you want to get healed, or do you want to still stay in this spot and study have those same scenarios come to you in different settings and all that, and keep be seeing saying woe is me, why does this keep happening to me, instead of me changing something so that I can change everything else around me, so I can change the energy that's coming to me. We have to do it for ourselves. We cannot do it for nobody else. Nobody, regardless on how they feel, what they say, how they think, how they view you. We have to do it for ourselves. And if we don't do it for ourselves, then you might as well not do it, because you're doing it for the wrong reasons and you're not going to get those results that you're needing or wanting. After an apology, you don't think sometimes I want to punch somebody still in their face because I'm still feeling some type of way? Yes. Yes. However, still wrong is a wrong is still a wrong. So, I mean, yeah, our sometimes our pride can affect what we do and how we see things. And sometimes we need to get that in check. Sometimes we need to step outside of ourselves. Sometimes we are the cause of some of our own problems that we can so easily put on just anybody else, or we could put all the fault on the next person. And sometimes, or most times, that's not the case for real. And if you're not doing that work and not really paying attention and understanding, you won't know that. You won't think about that. You won't think in that light. So once again, self-worth, like internal work is needed. It's needed for us to survive and be mentally adapt and aware. We have to. We have to. And then just be the best self you can be. Genuinely. Genuinely. It takes like it takes a real it takes a real strong, extra strong person to not want to retaliate against somebody either mistreating you or mishandling you or misjudging you. It takes so much strength and effort, and sometimes you just don't want to. I, I'm a witness. I'm witnessing personal experience. You just don't want to. You don't feel like you need to. You don't see a reason at that time for you to. And sometimes you just want to be petty. Sometimes you just want to give people what they give you. Sometimes you just want to do people how they do you because it hurts so bad and you don't know what else to do. You don't know how else to show that person or tell that person so they can understand, so they can get it. You want them to hurt so bad like you're hurting. In that moment, you don't care what it takes, what it is. But to be true and to be real, you have to ask yourself, step outside of that real quick before you make that real quick movement. Real quick though, what is that going to accomplish? What is that going to do? Is it going to prolong the problem that you have? Because that other person can be just as petty too. That other person can be just as devious too, still. That other person can entertain the foolishness. And then it's just going to be an ongoing battle, an ongoing hamster wheel. You're going around and around in a circle. You're not getting nothing accomplished. You're not fixing nothing. So is it worth it? Is what you have to ask yourself. And that's where the humbleness comes in at. You got to humble yourself. Hard work though. I swear on my life. Hard work. So hard. But it's needed.
Very so.
You really want to do it, you're going to do it.
It's needed in the world. People to be more humble about themselves and realizing like that. I think that's like something that helps you navigate from situation to situation. Is really, I mean, and knowing yourself and realizing like, okay, everyone falls short and make mistakes too. And realizing like, okay, you may feel valid how you feel, but still be willing to clean it up and change it and be more nice in a sense for the greater good of what you want the outcome of the situation to be. And that ain't easy, especially from the ones. It just be some certain ones, boy.
Man.
Even to this day. And they might think I'm bipolar, psychotic, whatever. But you gotta. Some days I just don't want to, and I ain't gonna lie. The better me don't. Okay, but I'm gonna reflect on the situation, and next time I see you, hopefully it's better.
Right. Because we're human and we have those emotions, and certain things affect us in certain ways. And we can't hide how it affects us. We can't front like it don't bother us. We can't We can't make up actions that's not true or not there. We feel what we feel,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to work through that, regardless of if people like it or not.
And even be honest with them about it. In that moment, I felt like this. In that moment, I could have really did the big one with you. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you live. I'm gonna give you some grace, mercy, because you need it. And know I gave it to
Obviously more
you.
than me. So yes.
And give them that look. Sometimes, the Lord didn't say nothing about looks. He said something about your mouth
What?
and your words. However, them looks could kill.
Listen, I could change a lot of stuff about me, but my looks
My face will
has
tell it
never
all.
changed.
They probably could understand me more with just my looks than my words. Because
Period.
some people don't get it twisted. I'm disgusted with you. Okay? I have no care for you. However, I'm still gonna treat you with some type of dignity.
But still look at you sideways because you got
On
me.
today. And tread lightly. Find you something to do. My look says it all. And then they be so surprised, like, oh, she actually spoke. Hug is pushing
Why
it.
wouldn't I?
But I spoke. And sometimes, baby, nowadays, speak first and I shall speak back. I no longer go out speaking to other people first,
For
depending on the
sure.
situation. But if you speak, I'll speak.
Right.
Like, hello there.
Right.
Good to wow, I see you. I didn't even know you were there. I did.
I just read the room, and
And
I
it
could
makes people
sense
self-reflect
when.
about their actions. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, how am I? Am I giving this type of energy towards her? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it makes people really self-reflect.
Yeah.
You really can kill people with kindness. That's better than cussing them out.
Can.
It's better than beating them up. It's better than hitting them with your car.
How
I know
dare
I'm going
she be
downhill,
nice?
but those are some thoughts I didn't have. Okay?
How dare she say something nice?
Kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
And that works for in the workplace and outside the workplace.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation right there.
Listen.
As a Black woman, emphasis on the Black and the woman.
Emphasis. You
The
heard
biggest.
it. The biggest. No, that's real life.
Because they'll focus on your reaction. They'll focus on your words. They'll focus on all the negative. That's how they hide. And I decided to start giving people power. You're not gonna hide behind my reaction. You're not gonna hide behind my mouth and what I said. Yeah, I wasn't right. I shouldn't have did all that, but I felt justified. And a lot of
But
people
you're
hide
also
behind
not
that.
telling the reason why it is that you're not telling your part in it.
Yeah,
That's
because
what
they
gets
hiding on your
me. I
reaction. They
don't.
ride off that. People
Yeah, I
ride off
don't
that.
like that. I don't like that people can judge you and people can portray you to be something and look like something and just all of a sudden feel like you change and all that, and they can't take their part in why it is that there was a change, why it is that something happened, something else happened, or you're not the same person, or you're not acting the same, or you're not all of a sudden. I don't like that all of a sudden shit. I don't like that. It ain't
People
no
are,
all of a sudden. Nothing's never
yeah.
all of a sudden. There's always in the cause and effect. There's always something happened and something happened after that.
People are so shallow. They don't even want to ask. They just drama filled. But with me, any situation, I can hear something like that. Well, what caused that? What happened? What was the
Right.
situation?
Well,
What did you do? Hold on, let's talk. Let's dive into that. Don't
right,
try to
because
go
we're
over
getting
her
into
reaction.
what
What
I'm
did you
doing so
do?
bad and how I'm acting so bad and how I'm looking so horrible. And can we get into, I mean, yeah, let's,
And that's when you realize people don't really want to talk about it.
right.
Y'all want to gossip. Y'all want to throw people under the bus. Y'all don't really want to talk about it. I'm here for all talks, baby. I like the hard discussions. Now there are some that I'll be like, ugh, but I
Right.
take it as a challenge. Let's get to it.
Yep.
And it reveals a lot about yourself. Like when you stop being delusional and pretending like you don't have the feelings that you have, no matter how bad they are, there's a lot of room for healing. Like, you really got to explore that deep, dark self of your thoughts, because you got to confront it. You got to put it out there. Then move away from that.
Yeah.
Because everybody has them thoughts. People pretend like they don't. But they really do. They just ain't being truthful about it.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I try and have several talks with my kids. Because like you said earlier, Effany, like that do start with like when you're young. And I feel like the more you put into your kids, the more positive stuff you put into your kids, the more you teach your kids about different things and all that. Like, not saying that they will be all the way how they need and should be, but they'll have a jump start on all this stuff that we're talking about right now. You know what I mean? That it'll be they will see, like, they will have self-awareness. They will be aware of themselves and things around them and what makes them tick, what don't. You know what I mean? They will have better self-worth about themselves, because I feel like we should pump our kids up. I feel like when we're young, we're such daredevils, and I feel like they basically know, and I'm saying they because I'm not a kid now, but kids know. I feel like kids almost know what they want to do and stuff. I feel like it's us parents that be either talking kids out of things, or saying what they want and can't do and stuff, that deters them. You know what I mean? Because we feel like, since we're the parents and we're the adults, we get to do that, or we know because we're older than them. But they're still a person, and we can't just. That's still, in my viewpoint, I feel like that's still, we're placing what we can't do or how we can't be on them, on the kids. And that's not right or fair.
Yeah.
I found myself apologizing to my son several times, because some of the decisions that I've made for him was solely based on my feelings, on what I feel like the outcome would be, or what I feel like he would not be able to do or get through, or any of that. And that's not fair. That's not fair at all. It's not a day that goes by that I'm not trying to think about where my son is mentally. Like, how is he really doing or really feeling? Because once again, you could put on faces, you could put on disguises, you could do all that, and deep down it'd be something way totally different. And I'm one who see, because I do know that I'm always overthinking. I'm always trying to mentally, like, figure out, because even if you go to them, they probably won't tell you. So and I try to figure it out, which sometimes it is just, I feel like I just go too deep, because now I'm asking way too many questions. I'm thinking way too far. When I mean, I don't know. So yes, I feel like when we're parents, I feel like if we have young kids and all that, they are sponges. They do soak in things. They do. So we should instill nothing but the best in them. We should instill nothing but truth. We should promote, you know what I mean, like to for them to want to learn, for them want to have knowledge, for them want to be the best selves that they can be, for them to not to portray to be something out here that they're not, for them to be their authentic selves, for them to just, you know what I mean, want to do and execute everything that they feel like they can do. You can do it. Do it. I don't know. You don't know neither, and I don't know. So I'm going to say do it. You want to figure it out? I will help you figure it out. I can't tell you I'm going to execute that, neither figuring it out, but whatever I can do that maybe can possibly help you, I want to do that. So yeah, kids also is important. Parents also play a major role. What do you guys think about the parents? What y'all think about, do parents play in what roles do you think parents play, or if you even think that they play a role in how we view ourselves and in show our self-love and all that? What is y'all take?
I think they play a huge role. Um, I think my biggest challenge when it comes to my self love, self worth, self identity is combating the negative things I was told by my parent. Um, and I was told so much, like, I felt like, no, that's not me. That's not how I move. That's not where my heart is. That's not where my mind is. But I feel like, too, when you're told something for so long, you start to believe and wonder where the truth is in it. And you can start to believe those things about yourself. So if you have a parent who is not fond of you, or who tells you things like, you have a dark hole where your heart should be, you're manipulative, I love you because I have to, but I don't like the person that you are, you begin to wonder, hmm, what's wrong with me? Why do I have a dark hole where my heart should be? What is it that you dislike so much? Like, what about me is so dislikable that you love me because you feel like you have to, but you don't want to, and you don't like my existence, essentially. So, um, I think it's a huge role for me, um, in just kind of like figuring out, like, okay, what has truth to it, what doesn't, and it's really going to boil down to combating the lies and their beliefs, and just being confident in who I am, and um, knowing that even though, like, I have good intentions, that they don't value intentions. Um, so I think it's a huge role if you're raised and brought up to not like your reflection. Why would that change as an adult?
Do you think that's do you think that that could possibly be, that can also possibly be self-projecting, them self-projecting?
Hell yeah, sure do. Um,
And is.
So if you feel, so if you think that it's self-projecting, then what is stopping you from?
well, it's well, it again, it goes back to the, you've been told it so much you believe it, and you don't realize it's self-projecting until you're an adult. I didn't figure this out until, what, a month, 2, 3 ago. Like, it never crossed my mind that she was self-projecting. So, and then your influence on people. Um, she's not the only one that believes these things. So then it's hard to, like, okay, if all these people think that, how can I think any different if that's also what they they believe, and that's all they see me as. How can I be anything different? How do I, then it becomes a, well, I have to prove them wrong. And then in doing that is the doing the complete opposite of self-love. You overextend, you over accommodate, you walk on eggshells, you pour out of an empty cup to please someone who's never going to be accepting or pleased. It's there's no winning at the game. So um yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. How
Parents,
did
they definitely play a huge role. I think it comes with like a lot of it comes with accountability when you parents do realize or you show them what part they play. And it's not just for them to sit there and turn it about them, but it's for them to realize and, apologize to their kids. I think that's something like a society is, some people are moving towards doing. I know the older generation probably that's not a thing for them. Like you don't apologize to kids, even if your kids are grown.
right?
Um, and even realizing like once your child is grown, you need to fall all the way back. Um, like I said, I think I said it when we was backstage before, like as my daughter gets older, I try to fall back in certain areas or in certain senses. Like, of course, I'm still parenting her. I'll still guide her and be there for her when she needs me. But as she gets older, I'm trying to, loosen my grip
Yeah.
and trust that what I instilled in her will protect her, will help her, will guide her, will be something that
Mm,
she can fall back on when she ever finds herself in a situation. And
right.
I didn't never get an apology or acknowledgement of some of the things that happened to me, growing up or that were said or told or done. But I refuse to do that to my own child or any
Mm,
child in general. Because even with other kids, like if I realize like their home situation is the best or their parent is kind of like how the parent I grew up with, I'd be that positive voice in their life as much as I can. I, speak good into them. And a lot of times when you speak to these kids, like even with my daughter, like her growing up has like helped me to heal the inner child in myself, or family members where they have kids and it's like seeing them growing up and realizing where was I at that time, what was said to me or what was being instilled into me at that time, and just trying to heal and to realize, okay, it happened, but the fact that I'm still here attests to what they try to do did not work. And just realizing like they played their part, but they no longer have authority over you. And it took me a while to realize that too, because it's like I'm an adult. Of course, I care for what you say, but it's like I'm here for the positive and the good things. I can put myself down. You know what I mean? The world can put, say negative things, but when it comes to family or a parent, that's just something I no longer accept. Um, and I let it be known, like, I'm just not accepting that. I hear you. You said what you said, but that's as far as it's gonna go. Especially when we grew up in different times, we're different people. You can't live your life through me. I'm not you, and you're not me. And just finding love within yourself without them. But parents, yeah, they play more of a role that I think a lot of them want to emit or realize. But they're gonna have to eventually, especially when it comes to grandkids. Have y'all
it's,
realized like parents are different with their grandkids than when they are
they're a
with
lot
theirs?
more lenient. They're a lot more, um,
Accountable,
yes,
intentional,
yeah,
careful.
because they feel like, oh, their job is done, and they can let loose, and they can, not go so hard, or not still have those same ways about them as they did with their own kids. So they let them get away with things and let them do certain things, and don't and lack still put in the same, like beliefs and all that other stuff into the grandkids as they did their kids. And I
It's
mean,
backwards
it super backwards.
because especially when you know that you're that parent who are on top of things, who are intentional about their kids, and then you have a grandparent who's lenient.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, that's where that and then that causes more friction on top of the friction.
Yep.
And it's like, you at least could have some type of hardness or some type of sense when it comes to these grandkids. You shouldn't just be like, all is well.
Tough love is not always bad love.
Literally, yes. That is it.
Yeah.
And tough love is a form of showing that you truly love them.
Right.
Because if you didn't, you would just let them do whatever and not care how they turned out. But if you truly
Yeah.
love your kid, you're going to at least try to teach them. And a lot of parents, I feel like some of them say a lot, but they don't do what they say.
Yeah.
And kids and people in general go based off of action. Don't tell
Yeah.
me to do something and you're not doing it.
What? Well, mama, I didn't see you, or mama, you didn't, or mama or daddy, you didn't, or you what?
And there ain't no excuse on why you didn't do it either.
No, right.
We could have been doing it together, but you
Yeah.
felt like you were above me, that you couldn't even humble yourself to even walk this journey with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so much can be resolved right there.
Yep.
So much. Even with adult kids. We're both adults. How come we can't? That whole I'm not your friend thing is out the window. We should have some form of a friendship.
We
Of course,
should.
still be respectful. Don't get disrespectful and doing all that extra. But acknowledge that I'm an adult as well. We made it past, survived. Okay, now let's tackle it together.
Yeah.
But that will become with being vulnerable and humble and realizing, like, I think a lot of parents don't like to realize or hear what they done wrong when with your upbringing. Parenting is not an easy thing. You're gonna mess up.
Yeah.
That's if you don't mess up, you're lying. Like,
You're not doing something right.
you're
Yeah.
doing something right. And a lot of parents don't want to hear that because they self-eternalize it in a bad way. And it's
Yeah.
just like, hear how this affected me and how it went wrong, but see how it also helped me or led me to this. Everything, and if it is all just bad, it's because you're allowing it to be.
Yeah.
Don't let it be in vain. Let's put in the work. Let's heal
Yeah.
from this. Let's move forward from this. So yeah, parents, they play a huge role because they're the first one who teaches you your idea, who are supposed to instill good things in you, but not all parents do that.
Yeah.
They're your first. They're the ones who created that, and a lot of people create stuff, but they don't know what they created.
No. That just goes back to self accountability. It just
Yep.
goes back to just owning up, just and being okay with that. Like, um, that plays for me. That just plays a role in like the self esteem too, because you have to be okay with where you are and how you are, whatever space it is, like good or bad. You got to accept all that. So, and you got to be accountable. Like, we don't want to be self-accountable. We don't want to be accountable for anything when it comes to any type of negative outlook. It, like, if it makes you look bad, you don't want to fess up to anything. If it makes you feel like you're less than, you're not going to fess up to anything or feel like you had any role or any play into how something, how like your child came out or has been affected or anything, like, but you got to take accountability. Sometimes we can mess our kids up, and then we can be the ones who's trying to wonder and figure out, well, how did you get like that, or why are you like that, or try to neglect us, or try to deaden us, or anything.
Compare us, multiple children, parents with multiple kids. That's a huge one. Comparing your kids to each
Yeah.
other. Y'all can all be raised the same and have different personality outcomes, relate, like all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like pinning your kids against each other is probably one of the lowest things you can do as a parent.
Or the parents comparing the kids to themselves.
Yep. Yep.
How are you as a parent, or let me include me, how is us as parents trying to compete with our kids? Where does the competition, please, anybody that watches or sees or is viewing or anything, what will make a parent want to compete with their child or children?
I think it's jealousy and the bitterness of them having to stop their lives because they chose to,
Lay down and make them kids.
and then their life had to stop and they had to make all these sacrifices, and they could have been so great and done so much. So to see you go out there and seem unappreciative or ungrateful of their sacrifices and go farther than what they are is insulting. And you not all of that, because I could have did that too, but I couldn't because of you. Resentment. But that's just my thought.
I'm gonna play that Beyonce resentment song after this. You made me want to listen to it now. No, but I feel like that's weird. I feel like it's weird for you. You should always want your kids to be way better than you. You should always
Literally.
want your kids to excel at whatever, and even if it's above or over you. Once again, the more um the more generations pass and whatever, you should learn more and more. You should be more and more ahead. You should want the next generation to know way more than you, to excel, to do way more. There's going to be more experiences. There's going to be more everything out there for you to even try and form your lips to say out your mouth, well, it's because of you that I didn't, or I couldn't, or I haven't. What? How bitter do you have to be? How incomplete you have to be? How miserable you have to be to do that? Like, my son will look at me crazy, but as much as I can, I try and I feel like I do like try and explain myself. I feel like sometimes just in our situation, I feel like it's needed a little bit because us as parents also we do so many things, and when we do certain actions and stuff, we don't realize when we do those actions how it affects our kids or what toll it plays on them and stuff, and we don't think about it because we're in those acts, we're in that space, we're not thinking about nobody else or nothing else or whatever. But that really does affect your kids. What you do, how you go about your life, what your values and views and all that is, all that plays a major role in how your kid sees themselves, how they handle themselves, how they perform outside of your house or outside of your teachings. All that, it molds and shapes them. And who are we to sit back and not see something that we like and just blame society or blame our child or our kids for being how they are and not even look at ourselves? Not even think to say, well, I was like this, or I did say this, or I was acting like this. What? Once again, we're so quick to blame somebody else. Stop blaming other people for stuff. If you can't take any type of accountability for anything, you don't have a right to even mention nobody else or what somebody else is doing or what they did or what they said or how they acted or anything. We quick to blame other people and slow to blame ourselves. Why? Because we can't take it. We can't take that we could be the reason why bad things are happening. So instead of just realizing that and fixing it so that the energy can change and turn around, we just want to just avoid it, right? We just want to just put the blame on other people, put the blame on other things. Yeah, that's what we're doing. It's horrible. It's horrible how we're going. It's so horrible. We won't take accountability now. It's shit. Stuff's never gonna change at all for nobody at all, and we're all still gonna be living these fake, false facades and these fake made up stories, and we're gonna live more and more on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter or X, on TikTok, and we're always gonna put what are filters and all that other kind of stuff that embellishes and make things seem so sparkly and so bubbly and so real and really behind all that stuff is fake, is made up, is wrong, is not right, is not good. And we're just all living big lies out here, and we're okay with that. We're okay with living a lie to look good, for the image to look good. Why? I don't know. Any other thoughts, y'all?
No, I think we had a good session today.
Right. I think that was a good point. I don't have anything else to add.
Yeah. I just feel like, and I'm going to just reiterate what I initially said up front. Even when you don't want to, show love to yourself. And that can be something really minute. That could be something really small, like really that don't take any effort. Like motivate yourself. Lift and talk yourself up. Because if you think about it, just think about what goes on around you. You're not getting it from nowhere else. And if you're thinking and if you're waiting to get it from somewhere else or to get something from someone else, you're wasting your time. Lift and build yourself up, because we are here for a reason, whether we want to believe it or not, whether we know what that reason is or not. We're here for a reason. We're here for a reason. And once we find out that reason, it's going to make it even more easier and simpler for us to care for ourselves, for us to think better of ourselves, for us to love ourselves more, for us to show ourselves our self-worth, and for us to accept nothing less than what we know we are, who we know we are. Don't let nobody tell you what you can't do. Don't let nobody tell you what you can't accomplish. They don't know. Nobody knows about you, especially if you ain't spoke to nobody or spoke to them personally. Don't let that shit affect you and get in your head. Know who you are and speak that. Speak it out loud. When you wake up and get ready in the morning, speak nothing but positivity. Get you some post-it notes and make you about 10 of them and put them on a damn mirror and say that shit every morning. Repeat it before you walk out that damn door. And when you get in the car, say it. When you right before you get out the car, say it and believe it. Believe it. Don't think less of yourself because of what somebody else is trying to put on you. Fuck them. I don't care. I don't care. Don't listen to that shit at all. Nobody can be you. Nobody can mold and shape you. Are you clay? You know you. You know you better than anybody else. And it's a problem if in your head you feel like somebody else know you more than you do and you let them shape you how they want you to be. That's not acceptable. It's not acceptable at all. You're a queen. Effany, you too. And all the other ladies out there too. We need to live like that. We need to believe in ourselves because it's hard for us to get that from anybody else. We have it hard out here.
Indeed.
And we need to spend less time trying to fight each other, less time trying to compete with each other, and build each other up and help each other in whatever aspect that we can. Because it's not hard. It don't cost anything. It don't take much effort. And genuinely want to do it. Why wouldn't you want to see the next person happy or have joy or smile or any of that? You're so in a bad space to where you feel that badly where you want somebody else to feel as bad as you. What kind of shit is that? I be damned in this space right now where I'm at. I love myself too damn much. I value myself too much. I can't say that I'm everything I need to be in a place exactly where I need to be, but best believe I know I'm working at it. I know what's the word I'm trying to say? Like I mean what it is that I'm doing. I'm dead set on who I want to be and where I want to be and what I want to do. Be vigilant in that. Work towards it. Sometimes our village is not gonna be big, which is why you always gonna have to rely on yourself mainly. That extra help and that outside motivation and that outside love that sometimes is not even real love. It's not going to come all the time. That should be an add-on. That should be a extra booster. But boost yourself so that you won't have to need somebody to boost you. You won't have to need somebody to love you. You won't have to need for somebody to care for you. You won't have to need for somebody to tell you what your self-worth is. Do it and see it for yourself. And however you need to get there, however you need to do it, find a way and do it. And if you really want to do it, you're going to find that way. You're not going to make an excuse about it. You're going to figure it out. But I'm done. But I do genuinely love everybody and I love y'all. And that's all I got to say for tonight.
I love you too.
We love you too. I do have, I guess, an assignment for all of us to do by the next time we meet on Tuesday.
Okay.
It would be, and it's a challenge for other people too who are watching, and it's like a self-challenge.
Thank you to viewers, whoever you are right now. I can't see, but thank you guys for watching.
Yes, thank you for watching and tuning in with us. I would say like we should like self-reflect or write or draw or whatever we need to do, like who we want our future self to be in the sense of like self-love or like how we just see ourselves. Okay. And it's not something for us to be compared or to be hard on ourselves when we realize, okay, we're not there yet.
Right.
But just something to have mentally in your head to know like, okay, that is what I'm working towards. I'm working towards a woman who knows how to love herself unconditionally, or it can be or love others unconditionally, or setting boundaries, like whatever that might envision, but like start to piece like what you want your future self to be. And it doesn't have to be a time frame or anything, just what you imagine what that would look like.
Okay.
And know that it's obtainable.
Yes.
But I think that'd be good to start off next week with.
Yes, ma'am.
Noted. That's all I have to say.
All right. Well, thank you again for tuning in to Sisterly Sparks, the series of the self-love journey. Feel free to join us in on our assignment for next week. Be sure and head over to our YouTube channel and subscribe, like, share, comment, to help us kind of network and reach people. You may have someone in mind who you think could benefit from this, or you yourself may benefit for this.
Listen, y'all. It's about 86 of y'all on our friends list on this Facebook, okay? Now listen, we trying to do something. We trying to spread stuff. All we asking, listen, y'all don't even have to watch it all the way. Y'all don't have to look, view, go to. All we're asking for is a subscribe. Just go press that button real quick and go back to doing what it is that y'all doing. We're not asking for y'all time. Just go help us out, so we can help somebody else out. Even if you don't want to get the help, even if you don't need it, send somebody else that you may know that may need it. So all we're asking for, just go ahead to the YouTube channel for Sisterly Sparks and hit that subscribe and like button and maybe share it. We appreciate it. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. Well, that wraps up this episode. And we will see you guys next week for part 2 or week 2 of the full month series. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.